AskReddit by deleted. What was your biggest teenage mistake? Trying to be someone who I wasn't. Learning who you are takes time. Realizing what you're really about is key. I listened to a Childish Gambino song and the hook says you're just mad cause I'm doing me better than you're doing you. That shit hit hard. Not realizing that my parents weren't doing the best job raising me, preparing me for adulthood, and realizing I should maybe take matters into my own hands. Yeah, me too, but how were we supposed to know? Not taking better care of my teeth. Thanks, I'll go brush my teeth now. Started smoking. Deleted. I took my uncle's beautiful restored classic car for a drive when I didn't have a license and got it impounded. How many fingers of yours did he break? Not getting the hint that my friend, the beautiful Patricia, wanted to be way more than friends. Patricia. I did not rebel. My parents incessantly accused me of rebelling and general debauchery despite being in a huge club sport on scholarship, being involved in school councils, having extracurriculars like orchestra and art, which I always won awards for, having a 3.6 GPA, being the first in my family on track to go to a huge university, etc etc. I spent my high school life hopping in between crying, self-loathing, and suicidal ideation when I could have been having fun and enjoying my childhood. I spent too much time wondering why my parents didn't love me instead of doing something about it and refusing to respect them. I felt this. I once got Baker acted because I tried to KMS because I got an 89% on my college final and my parents said you could have done better. Never having had the courage to pursue girls or ask for help in figuring out how. Me right now, recently met a girl through another friend and contemplating on if I should. Edit, I shooted my shot via text because last time I saw her in person it wasn't the best time to do so, and now we wait. Thanks for the hype everyone. I was a rather negative person as a teenager, but tried to play it off as sarcasm instead. I somehow had grown into this weird bubble where I made fun of almost every little thing, but didn't really realize that I was also hurting my friends by doing that. I did lots of growing up after high school, and I'm a bit sad about not keeping in touch with my old friends. They might have liked me more today than they did back then. The important thing is that you were able to realize your mistakes and learn from it. You matured. And they played a role in that as well. I'm sure they'd be glad to see the person you became now. Not being more sociable. I'm 25 now and I have no fucking idea how to make friends. I was quite social as a teenager, but over the course of my 20s lost interest in putting a lot of effort into it. I just stopped caring about what others thought of me, and realized a lot of the friends I had were shallow relationships with people who didn't give a crap about me. So it can be tough, and now all I want to do is focus on what and who is important to me. Shared bank account with girl at 19. I am assuming she took the money. I like horses. In 8th grade I had a t-shirt that said I horses. This was in the early days of the internet. Guess how many times I got asked if I fucked horses? I'm on a horse. Getting addicted to pills, specifically oxycodone, which led to a 10-year heroin addiction that I'm just now 7 months clean from. Congrats on getting clean. Being afraid of girls. Didn't realize that they were normal humans too, who just wanted to have fun and be liked. They were mysterious and scary, and I lost a lot of years being self-conscious and shy. Lol, true. Emotionally I realized women are humans too when I heard a quote from G.R.R. Martin who was asked something like, how do you write women so well, and his answer was, well, I've always considered women to be people. I felt like it was the biggest revelation I'd ever had. And romantically, I remember thinking girls thought sex was a key, and I'd spend my time having to try and convince a girl to sleep with me, which obviously is not a confident move and thusly unattractive. I learned this lesson when, long story short, I jokingly asked a girl, "Do you want to play with my wiener?" whilst I held a plastic toy hot dog, and she just missed the joke and started rubbing my crotch. It took me a while to process, but after I realized, oh my god, women like sex too, I became much more successful. Sold $200 worth of bitcoins to a friend for tickets to a music festival back in 2011. Now that is a worthy regret. I don't know exactly how much that would be worth now, but I'm thinking minimum a decent 6-figure amount and maybe even as much as 7 figures. Maybe I'm even underestimating it. Trying to be more mature. Since childhood, I prided myself on being an extremely smart person who was above things like cartoons and playing. Of course, I still like those things, but I desperately tried to hide it even though literally nobody actually cared. While everyone my age was dashing to tab away from porn, I was tabbing away from Minecraft Let's Plays. Even though I'm older now and know that people don't care, I still find myself tabbing away from cartoons and pausing games when people try to see what I'm doing. That instinct is still there. I usually just force myself to resume what I was doing, but I feel like I'd be better off if I didn't have the desire to prove myself to others as a kid. Still doing this. IDK how to stop, it's impulsive. I robbed a gas station. How did that go? Looking back at the way I treated this one girl, I was cruel and thoughtless. I'm 50 now and it still hurts me. Deleted. Coasting through school on being bright and never learning to study. University was a shock and just about managed my 2. I coasted through most of school and I'm nearing uni now. Scared AF. Marrying my 18-year-old self to a 40-year-old who'd been grooming me for 3 years, just to spite my mother. 0/10, would not recommend. WTF. My biggest teenage mistake was not being kind to myself. My teenage years were some of the hardest in my life, hopefully. Trauma after trauma, disappointment after disappointment. And I always blamed myself for them all. It wasn't until recently I could start looking back and realize that it really wasn't my fault. I did a lot more than most would have in my situation. And that even though I had terrible teenage years, it's not a reflection on who I am, but more a reflection on what I was going through. It makes coming to terms with losing out on that part of your life much easier. And I wish I had this mindset much earlier. Back when I was just a young hoodlum, I was out for a very late evening drive. Nice cool air and my car was making good power. Which for a turbo 5.0 Mustang is quite a bit of power. I was cruising at 100 mph plus with occasional jaunts to much higher speed. Came up to a town and saw a police roadblock. About the same time I saw lights about a mile behind me. I was pretty sure they couldn't have eyed me by that point, so I took off. Did a little fancy driving and gave them the slip, for a while. Long story short, it came down to wrecking my car or giving up, and I decided to give up. Felony fleeing the police in a motor vehicle, reckless endangerment and a couple other charges is what I ended up with. I was 19 at the time. Now I'm 33, I'm an engineer, married to a wonderful man who unfortunately I am not able to have children with. We looked into adoption, but with one of us being a former felon it's a bit of a non-starter. What happened after? Jail time? Not losing kilos from the beginning. I know it maybe sounds stupid, but being an overweight teenager made me become an outcast everywhere. Kids and adults can be cruel and even self-esteem was bad. I only lost those kilos near the end, wish I did it much sooner. Don't fret on the past. Nothing can be done about it anymore, and as a previous commenter said, people that were focusing on your weight wouldn't have been good friends anyway, so be happy you dodged trash from your life. You seem like a good, kind and down-to-earth person. Just keep being like that and you'll attract positive people in your life eventually. Until then I would think of it as a blessing. I am in my teenage years RN and I realized I can learn from your mistakes. Thanks Redditors. A smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes. I'm actually more worried about the mistakes I didn't make. Making mistakes means you're experiencing life. I was way too far in my shell to have fun. I didn't even do anything that I could qualify as mistake, just nothing, go to school, study, sleep, then repeat, didn't go to party, no social events, nothing, and no, I just realized how big things like those were. Doing an unsuccessful backflip on a trampoline. What happened? Forcing myself to fall in love with a girl. I didn't love her. I was in love with the idea of a girlfriend. Now to be fair, she made the same mistake. She didn't love me. It was a bad relationship. Same bro. Wasted 3 years. High school football. My doctor advised me against it, but I was 14 and knew everything. Putting my body through 4 years of abuse was not worth what I got out of it. Today I'm 33 and wake up with a stiff neck every day. My right shoulder has a ton of scar tissue. My elbow has a bone chip. My jaw clicks pops if I open it too wide. And both of my knees ache when it gets too cold. Also our team sucked. My biggest regret was playing football, rather than joining our school's drum line. Football was such a chore, and our coach even choked a kid out at a game because he fumbled on a 3rd down. I told my mom that my stepdad raped me. I was 16. Mom committed suicide a few weeks later on Mother's Day weekend. I wish I had never told her. Edit. Wow everyone. Thank you for the awards and kind words. I know my mom was in a lot of pain, and she died in 2009, and I was adopted and worked with friends and therapists to find a way to start healing from the tragedies. It was not your fault. Deleted. Teenager here. I'll be sure to make sure this doesn't happen to me.